Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at alternate art cards, which are returning to the Pokemon trading card game. I think it was yesterday, we were shown alternate art versions of Single Strike Urshifu VMAX and Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. They've got new artists. They are showing us a new direction, or I suppose it might be more correct to say a return to an old direction. It raises questions about Rainbow Rare cards. It actually raises quite a lot. So let's go through nice and easily, and let's start off just having a look at the cards. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Single Strike Urshifu VMAX, it's a card that I'm not terribly fond of. As far as I'm concerned, it's the worst of the Urshifu. But before we remind ourselves what it actually does, we need to have a look at the artwork here. The artwork is fine, but it's not similar to the one we've already got. And that, I think, is a disappointment for me, and I know I'm not the only one that has suggested this. It's nice artwork, it's very well drawn, but it's not particularly different to what we've already got. It seems like it's kind of just been redrawn by a different artist. We've got a very similar pose, and we've just got, the different hands are up and down, instead of right hand up, left hand down, it's left hand up, right hand down, but it's very, very similar. You've got the same kind of crouch pose, you've got the same kind of sticking your chest out thing. The background is slightly different, but they're both kind of stylized rather than really showing a landscape, so they're really not that different. For what it's worth, I do think it's better than the regular version, but I think it's so close, it's not even necessarily worth really worrying about. Now, what is really interesting, this appears to be drawn by Kinu Nishimura, who has actually worked for Capcom for many years. There's a really nice article Kotaku did a couple of years ago now, back in 2017, looking at the art of Kinu Nishimura that she has done for Capcom, working on games, well, really since King of Dragons, an old school brawler, all the way through to Rival School, Street Fighter 3, Capcom vs SNK. I will link that article in the description because it's a really cool one to go and check out. It's one that's really interesting and gives many examples of the awesome work that she's done, which is absolutely brilliant. And although I'm not a terribly big fan of this particular artwork to start off with, purely because it is so similar to what we've already got, that doesn't mean I'm not delighted that we got such an awesome artist, I believe, making their debut. I need to give a shout out to the lovely Poker Guardian for helping me out with some of this information. Now, in terms of the card itself, we got 3 colorless energy, 100 damage. Do bear in mind, of course, that being a VMAX means it is an evolved Pokemon, so you can use triple acceleration energy, and with a little bit of damage manipulation, you could potentially KO stuff like Pikachu and Zekrom. Although it would be a bit awkward because you need like single strike energy, which is not a triple colorless energy, or triple acceleration energy, or martial arts dojo, but then martial arts dojo only works if you've got a basic fighting on, which you won't here if you're just using triple acceleration. But it's still kind of cool. What you could do here is just use Embor, and that would work rather nicely. Embor lets you do an extra 30 damage on your attack if you're a single strike Pokemon, so clearly that would give you a single energy one-hit KO. Point is, there's a little bit of potential. 4 energy, 270, discard all energy, not affected by any effects on your opponent's active. A 270 that goes through anything is quite nice, but for 4 energy, it is rather expensive. Do remember that Houndoom will be able to search a single strike energy and attach it as an ability, but it's still kind of expensive. Now, moving over into the Rapid Strike Urshifu, firstly, I think the artwork on here is absolutely stunning. Secondly, it is dramatically different to what we've already got. And thirdly, we got another new artist. We'll get there in a second. This, to me, is just crazy awesome artwork. I imagine this will be one of the more sought-after cards from Battle Styles. We've not had confirmation that these will be in Battle Styles, but I think it's fairly likely. Of course, I did tell you that there was a VMAX box, I think in a video yesterday, that is going to be coming out around about the same time as Battle Styles, I think on the same day. So maybe these will be saved and put in the VMAX box, which would make sense, in which case expect this one to be very sought after. You've basically got these Rapid Strike Urshifu sitting there whipping up a storm, literally and figuratively, and you got all kinds of Pokemon. There's a Clobberpuss flying around. There is a Cramorant with an Arrokuda in its mouth. There's a Corviknight just kind of casually going past. It is some of the coolest artwork we've seen so far. Now, this is drawn by Kiyotaka Oshiyama, who, according to the lovely Primaluga over at PokeGuardian, is an animator from Studio Durian that has worked on animation for anime shows like Flip Flappers and Space Dandy, neither of which I'm terribly familiar with, but the art style here is clearly awesome. Oh, and according to their Twitter, the entire Flip Flappers story is now available on YouTube for a limited time. So that might be something you want to go and check out. It's not old school Capcom video games that I grew up with, which is a little bit sad, but look how amazing the artwork is. And of course, I'm still enamored with this card. I mean, single fighting energy, 30 damage. If it moves from your bench to your active this turn, it does 120 more damage. So 150 total, which gets a KO on a Pikachu and Zekrom. And it gets a KO on an Eternatus. And it is 20 damage short of getting a KO on an Eternatus VMAX. You need to do 170 with weakness rather than 150, which you're doing. But again, there are all kinds of ways to do this with Martial Arts Dojo, bearing in mind you can use just a basic fighting here, unlike Single Strike Urshifu where that's awkward, and Vitality Band if you're not behind on prizes, so I like this a lot. Free energy, 120 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. If you discard all your energy is fine, not amazing, it's fine, but I think the single energy 150 here is genuinely worth getting excited about. I like Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, and I especially like this redonkulous artwork. So then, of course, we get back to the question of, well, what does this mean moving forward? Because, of course, in the Sword and Shield era, we've not had alternate art cards. I mean, what we can essentially do here is do a little bit of a comparison between Sword and Shield base and Cosmic Eclipse. Cosmic Eclipse being the last Sun and Moon set, Sword and Shield base being the first Sword and Shield set. And if we go back to Cosmic Eclipse, right at the end of the Sword and Shield expansion, we can look at a card like, I don't know, let's go Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff. We've got the regular art version of it. It's a very standard card. We've then got the full art version, which for what it's worth does have different artwork to the regular version. Not massively, but it is different. We've then got the Rainbow Rare version, which has the same artwork as the full art, but all rainbow-fied. And then we've got the actual alternate art version. It's not a full art card, it's not a Rainbow Rare card. I mean, it clearly is a full art card, but you know what I mean. It is just, hey, we've gotten another artist to go and draw it. So Shibuzo here actually is the artist on this, whereas the regular art on all of the tag teams is done by Mitsuhiro Arita, who by now you know I'm quite a fan of him. And of course, please do remember that the tag teams were essentially the old versions of the VMAXs. They were essentially the equivalent back in Sun and Moon. They were the biggest, baddest ones, so to speak. But if we have a look at, say, VMAXs, let's take Snorlax as an example, because I love me some Snorlax. We get ourselves the regular version of Snorlax, and we get ourselves the Rainbow Rare version, which is just the regular art, but rainbow-fied. The VMAXs haven't had alternate arts. Could that be what we're going to hear? And the answer seems to be alternate arts are back. Now, we have had it confirmed that these are not the only special art cards we are going to be getting. We can expect these for more Pokemon. Is it just going to be for VMAXs rather than Pokemon V? I'm honestly imagining it will be. Remember that the alternate arts back in the Sun and Moon era were just for your tag teams rather than your regular GXs. So I think that is a fair point to make. Is it going to replace Rainbow Rare VMAXs? I'm guessing not. And it's a question that I've seen asked by a bunch of people, and it's an entirely fair question, but there are two reasons why I think they're not going to replace Rainbow Rares. First of all, like I showed you with Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff, we did have both the alternate art and the Rainbow Rare together in the same set. And secondly, we're already 4 sets in. We're an entire year into the Sword and Shield block with Rainbow Rare VMAXs. And it would be weird at this stage if we just randomly drop them halfway through. That's not the kind of thing that Pokemon tend to do, dropping rarity and art and all of that stuff. So, if you ask me for my prediction, and we don't know for absolute certainty, but I do think it seems like a fair prediction, yes, we are going to be getting more of these VMAX alternate arts. That is confirmed. I think they're only going to be for VMAXs. That makes sense seeing what we've seen in the past. And I do not believe that this is going to replace the Rainbow Rare VMAXs. I would imagine that these are going to go along with them. So I would imagine you're going to get a Rainbow Rare of Rapid Strike Urshifu, which is just the regular art Rainbowified, as well as this, so you will have 3 different versions, which to be fair is still fewer than the 4 different versions of the tag teams that we were getting back in the Sun and Moon era. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful new art, lovely new artists, and potential changes to the way we're having all these VMAXs and their art, which as far as I'm concerned is rather exciting indeed. But I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.